Dirty little secrets unscrupulous shops have. I want to tell you about this. Hey everyone, how's it going? So you're riding with Kenny. So yesterday I was at another shop, and I think I've told you how I've become known as, hey, if you got a problem, call this guy. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here. I'm just saying that every shop I've ever been at, that's what usually happens. But for some reason, at the shop I'm at now, I get an awful lot of calls from other shops when they have a problem that they either can't figure out, or they break something at their own shop and they can't figure out how to fix their mistake or whatever. Yesterday's was a doozy. The shop down the road from us, and they're something else, let me tell you. The guy got a socket stuck on a Toyota Corolla. I believe it was a Corolla, but it had, and I believe it was a Toyota. It could have been a Nissan. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to it. But he was changing spark plugs. That noise is not me. That's a truck in front of me. He was changing spark plugs, and it's got the tubes where you got to take the coil out, and then you stick the socket down inside the tube to get the plug out. And it's got metal tubes. He got the socket stuck down inside there. I could not get it out. So I went over there with locking extensions to try to get it out. And he got this thing absolutely wedged in there. So when I did finally get it out, I actually wound up getting my locking extension on there, and I wound up getting a pair of vice grips on my extension, and then using a pry bar to pry off the valve cover, and then twist, and then pry, and then use it as leverage and pop the thing up and out. And I realized he was using a 5/8 spark, not even a spark plug socket, just a regular 5/8 socket, which is fine, except this thing had 9/16 plugs. How in the world he got one out to begin with is beyond me, but he did. He got one out that way. And then he got it jammed on the second one. And he said, I've been trying to get this thing out for hours. But what I want to get at here is the dirty little secret. There's a couple of them. I'm going to hit this one in particular. The dirty little secret, and I've seen this before, shops will call a customer and say, oh, I'm sorry, we have your car all apart, and the part that showed up was either boxed wrong or is incorrect, or we got it all together and the new part doesn't work, it's a defective part, we have to get another one. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It really does truly happen. But some people will use that because it does truly happen. They'll use it as an excuse to call a customer, so this way they can get more time out of the repair, meaning not more time to charge the customer, but more time like to have the car in the shop. Because let's say it's getting close to the end of the day, and they're like, well, we're not going to have this done today. Okay, well, and it happens. So I've had to call customers in the past, and I'll tell them straight up, hey, I've never had that problem with a spark plug socket, I'll tell you that. Well, a socket stuck down in a hole, never had that happen. But I've had, wrong parts. I've ordered wrong parts. I made the mistake. I broke something. And I'll tell the customer straight up, hey, this is what happened. When I was doing the repair, I broke this. Because I always have felt honesty is the best policy. That's probably why I'm in a pretty good position now, later on in my career. And I've gotten known as that person to go to because I'm truthful about everything. I'll tell you straight up, hey, I made a mistake. And there's nothing wrong with that. You want to yell at me? That's fine. I'm just telling you, this is what happened. I need more time with your car. I apologize. But yes, there are times where the part is wrong, the part's boxed wrong. That happens quite a bit. You'd be surprised. You get the part, you open up the box, and the part's broken. We got a transmission yesterday for a Nissan, and it was the wrong transmission. How in the world do you send the wrong transmission when we gave you the VIN number? Yeah, we gave you the VIN number. And you still got us the wrong transmission. They transposed the last two numbers, so there was a difference between an all-wheel drive and a front-wheel drive. Yeah, so we got the wrong transmission. So that's one thing. Another thing, and I told you, the place where I started this channel, the shop, if you look at the very first, I think, 5 or 6 videos, It was a shop that I worked at very temporarily. It was kind of like a warehouse type of setup. And the guy who owned the shop, he was something else, let me tell you. I worked there for a short period of time. I rented a bay from him is what happened, and I would do work for him basically for the rental of the bay. So he would have me R&R some transmissions for him because he was a transmission guy, so to speak, and he knew what he was doing, but he would shortcut stuff like you wouldn't believe. And I've seen it where, and this is the truth, he would get a car in, and let's just say a snap ring broke in the transmission, or a shaft broke in the transmission, but the fluid was clean. He would take the fluid and reuse it on another car. He would save it and reuse it on another car. Like, what? Seriously? You're reusing transmission fluid on another vehicle? I would never even consider that. Never. I would reuse fluid in my own car. You know, if I had to, let's say I had a leak on my transmission. Well, not in this van because I still got to change the fluid on this. It's only been 300,000 miles. But if I had to service, let's say a solenoid inside a customer's transmission, and the fluid was clean, and I could save the fluid, yes, I'm going to drop the pan, save the fluid, reuse the solenoid, or replace the solenoid rather, and then reuse that fluid in a customer's car. But I'm not going to charge for a new fluid. This guy would save somebody else's fluid, and he would stick it in somebody else's car and charge them for fluid. And I was like, are you kidding me? So it's just like, no. So I had to separate myself and distance myself from that guy. I couldn't have anything to do with that because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And when I went to Joe and Moe's, from that point is when I went to Joe and Moe's, and that's where the channel became popular. When I went to Joe and Moe's, I realized that Joe and Mo were extremely honest. They were just like me in that, they would never tell a customer a fallacy. They would never stretch the truth or lie to a customer just to either get more time or to get paid for something that they didn't do. They would never do that. But I've seen that. I've had cases where customers have come in and they were just at, a muffler shop or whatever, and the muffler shop sold them, calipers and rotors and everything else. And they said they needed some other kind of repair that they wouldn't do. So they would come to us, and I would see the receipt in the car, and I would look, and just out of curiosity, because some of the places would put part numbers on it. So I would look at the part number, and I would compare what was on the vehicle. And it's like, if you go online and you look at what the part number is, the part is a premium part. It's listed, but the part that's on the car was the bottom of the barrel cheap part. So yeah, these are all dirty little secrets that you got to be mindful of it. So if you get to know your mechanic, really truly get to know your shop, you'll realize the ones that are bending the truth and the ones that are honest. And like I said, I've always associated myself with places that are honest. I would never. I couldn't sleep at night if that doing stuff like that. It's just no. Like I said, if for some reason, and it does happen, it happens quite often. Working on a car, something doesn't go the way it should. I'm going to call you and say, hey, this part broke, that part broke, this happened, that happened. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. This way you know. And then also, think about it. When you tell a lie, let's just call it a lie because that's what it is. When you tell a lie, you have to remember that lie. I can barely remember my kids' names. So I'm not going to remember a lie I tell somebody. So that's another reason I don't tell people stories, because you're going to have to remember it. I know some people are really good at that. They can tell a story and they'll absolutely stick to it, But anyway, so I just wanted to let you know about that because it happened yesterday. To get that socket stuck down in that tube was and how bad it was stuck in there was beyond me. And the fact that he got one spark plug out doing it that way blows my mind. It's like, how can the incompetent manage something that the competent can't? Truly by accident. And it's just, I don't know. Mind blowing. All right, well, that's it. I know I'm kind of rambling here. I hope you're getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. I hope you like this video. I like to tell you things whenever I can and share some kind of a story with you when I think about it. All right, guys. Have a great day and keep wrenching. This was the smooth road that they repaved. Now it's like going down a dirt road. Anyway, have a great day. Keep wrenching.